In this video, I'm going to be making corned beef sandwiches with potato salad, just like you might get at a New York deli like Katz. This is in honor of St. Patrick's Day, of course.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to be notified when there's new videos. Comments welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so to make the corned beef sandwiches, first we're going to have to, of course, prepare the corned beef so we can cook it. And of course, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day just so we can have corned beef sandwiches. Or corned beef something, but usually sandwiches, often Reubens. This time I'm just going to do like a deli style sandwich like you might get at a New York Jewish deli, like Katz, something like that. So it's just going to be a bunch of corned beef and maybe some mustard or some Russian if you want to make it like a Reuben. But start off, of course, we need to rinse off the corned beef, and we're going to soak it in water to try to draw out some of that salt, because it's pretty salty just like it is. So, and it depends on how much salt you like, but I'm going to soak this in water for about an hour or so. Now this is the morning before the dinner, so once I get it soaked, then I'm going to throw it in the slow cooker and let it go all day. And I noticed, the corned beef used to come with little packets of seasoning, but they don't seem to anymore. There was a little bit in the bag there with a little bit of the brine left, so we're going to add some more seasoning in too. But first off, we're going to put this in a plastic tub here and fill it up with water, and then seal that up and put it in the refrigerator and let it sit till we're all ready to cook. I'm just checking to make sure it's not leaking there before I put it in the refrigerator. I got it sealed well. So next step, the refrigerator. Alright, so now it's time to cook it. It's like an hour later. And it really depends on your preference on how much salt you like. Some people like to, take it and soak it and drain it a few times, get more of the salt out, or even soak it overnight. You probably can't soak it too much. I mean, if you soaked it for days, but I think about an hour is good enough. It's supposed to be salty. So we just put it in the slow cooker, and we're going to put some water. Actually, I'm going to put the spices in first. Now, the spices generally for corned beef are just like a pickling spice. That's what I get as pickling spice. Like I said, it used to come with a packet in there. Maybe some still do, but none of the ones I'm getting anymore do. Like I said, the great thing about St. Patrick's Day is that you can have corned beef sandwiches, and the corned beef generally goes on sale. So it's a perfect time to buy some. So I bought an extra one, in fact, that later on here I'm going to turn into pastrami. I'm going to smoke it and turn it into pastrami. So you have to watch for that video. Alright, so I just did a couple tablespoons of the pickling spice. And I'm going to throw in some water. You don't want this to dry out, of course. And we'd like to have some juice. And I'm going to throw in some Guinness. Of course, in honor of St. Patrick's Day. And I am using the no alcohol version, but you can just use the regular version, of course. I happen to have this no alcohol one. Okay, now for me it's about 10 o'clock, so I'm going to set this for on high. You want to do like 6 to 8 hours on high or 8 to 10 hours on low. So, you're going here, and then I'm going to go ahead and crank it up to 7, I think 7.5 hours. That's about how much I have till dinner time. Alright. So it's later now, in time to make dinner. Let's check it out here. And you can see it's pretty well done. It's starting to fall apart. Check the temp. We want to hit between 205, 210, somewhere in there. And then here you can do the temperature probe test too. And if you stick it in there and it's kind of like Jello, you can just move it around, and it's pretty well done. Just like I mean, it is brisket, so it's just like checking brisket. So I'm just going to let that meat keep on cooking while I prepare the potato salad and get everything else ready. So to start off with the potato salad, I'm going to weigh out some potatoes. We need 2 pounds of potatoes, and these are Yukon Gold, or these yellow potatoes. These ones are actually pretty large for Yukon Gold. They're usually so smaller than this, like enormous. Now I'm going to be making the potato salad. I'm going to cook the potatoes and the eggs in the Instant Pot. And I think this is a pretty cool trick where you cook them together. And it's real quick and easy. But first off, we got to wash these up and get them sliced into chunks. Set up our little rack. This little rack is really handy with this new sink we got. We had this counter put in, I don't know how many months ago, but nice new granite top. And we got the sink that's under the, instead of going through, and you can put this rack, just roll it right out on there. We got the racks in the bottom. And I'm not going to peel these. I'm just going to leave the skin. I like the skins on, so. But you could also peel them. That water, even this time of year, that water is still ice cold. I'll warm it up a little bit so I don't freeze my hands. Some people like to cut out all the eyes and stuff, but there's really no reason to do that. Unless they just bother you, of course. I'm going to put a damp paper towel here under the cutting board to keep it from sliding around. We didn't have to do this when we had the Formica countertop, but this granite is pretty slick. I'd always seen this in cooking shows, but never done it until recently. Now, I start out here thinking I'm going to use that rack or the trivet or whatever they're called. So of course for potato salad, I'm just cutting these up into bite-sized pieces. You can make it as big or as small as you like. You do want to get them all basically, even, tiny even. Now at this point I decided I'm going to go for the steamer basket. because I think it'll make it easier to take them out. Okay, we'll get our cup of water. Now I'll get the eggs. As promised, we're going to boil the eggs right in the pot with the potatoes. So we got 2 pounds of potatoes. We're going to put in 8 eggs. Normally I don't like doing boiled eggs in the Instant Pot. I think that's kind of nuts, but it just makes it easy for the whole thing to be cooked all at once. But you do want to watch this, and when it's done, we're going to do a quick release on it. We don't want the eggs to overcook, because they'll just keep on cooking as they sit there. Just check the recipe here. Make sure of the time. Set it for 4 minutes and let her go. And so while those are cooking, I'm going to start on the dressing for the potato salad. We're going to start out with like a cup of mayonnaise. check the recipe, see what kind of spices we need. Some seasoned salt. Now, caraway seed, that's actually going to be for the sauerkraut later. But while I saw it in there, I'm going to grab it so I don't have to search for it again later. Celery seed. That's the secret ingredient of potato salad, I think. That and the spice rubs for me too. Okay, Dijon mustard, of course. Some kosher salt. Pepper. Apple cider vinegar, almost forgot that. And don't worry, I didn't leave that mustard in the cupboard. Absent-mindedly stuck it up there when I was grabbing the apple cider vinegar, but grab it later. Not too much salt in this. Alright, let's put that aside till the rest of it's ready. Always got to be cleaning up, putting stuff away. We didn't need too much celery. It calls for one stalk. These are kind of small. I'll grab a couple. This is actually leftover from the chili I made the other day. My primal chili. You might have seen that video. Now this time I want the dice fairly small. I don't like big chunks of celery in a potato salad. I like little chunks in there for the crunch. I'm just going to go ahead and go with the leaves and everything. It'll add some good flavor. Alright, we just need a couple of tablespoons of the onion, and this is a yellow sweet onion. A little sweeter than the white ones I normally like to use. But for this I think it's better to have the yellow. Could even use like a Vidalia. I don't need much of it. I would just use there's some white chopped up in the refrigerator already, but I got a yellow one, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I want a pretty fine dice on this too. I don't like big chunks of onion in the salad. So I'm just going to measure out what I need here over here, and then I'll put the rest away. I am mixing in the yellow with the white, but no one will complain. Clean up our trash here. I should use a trash bowl like Rachel Ray always did, but our trash can's right there, so I usually just cut right there next to the sink. Got a lovely spot of water on the lens. Hopefully that won't affect most people. You won't obsess over that. Alright, so the sauerkraut. Basically, I'm just going to heat this up to put on the sandwiches, or you can have it on the side if you like sauerkraut like that. The only thing I'm going to do other than heat it up is just put in some caraway seeds, which is of course what gives rye bread its flavor, and I think it's a good addition to the sauerkraut for the sandwiches. And before I just dump some caraway seeds in here, I'm going to look it up and see what the internet recommends for how much caraway seeds, or how much Google's Gemini recommends. Have to decide whether or not to trust the AI or not. It's like other people have looked that up too. So basically it's saying 1 to 2 teaspoons per pound. Scrub our teaspoon. Double check. Verify. 1 pound. 16 fluid ounces. 16 ounce, yeah. Well, close to a pound. So we'll just stir that in, heat it up, and simmer it for a little while. So I want to get a bowl for make the potato salad in. I also need a bowl here though for the eggs. For the ice water. So I'm just contemplating how to min-max it. How can I use just one bowl and not 2 bowls? So I decided I'm going to go for 2 bowls, at least at this point. After all, I just have to rinse it out. It's just going to be water for the eggs, right? I decided I don't need this bowl. We'll just go with 1. I can just do the eggs in here in the ice water, and then while the potatoes are just resting in the steamer basket, then I can mix it all in this one bowl. All right, I'll get the ice in a minute. It gets a little closer. Check on our sauerkraut. All right, still got 2 minutes left. That's half the time is up for our potatoes, and our eggs are ready. Just get the pan ready for the corned beef later. I don't seem to have a lid for this pan. A specific lid for it anyway. But I'm going to need one. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the corned beef in there, and then I'm going to cover it with cheese and melt the cheese onto the top, so it's all ready. You can just come over and put some on your sandwich. We don't want to have to heat up every sandwich or anything. Another check on the corned beef. Of course, it's still done. Oh, potatoes and eggs are done. Time to do the quick release here. I just pull it out from under the cupboard so I don't blast the steam onto the bottom of the cupboard there. And I'm real careful getting my hand on the side there so I don't get burned, but you can also do that with a towel. It's safer that way. I'm going to make sure I turn it off. I don't want that to continue cooking anymore. Takes a few minutes for that to, all the steam to release there. Just get some tongs. I can get them untangled. I'm going to use the tongs to grab the eggs out. Everything in there is about 250 degrees, so. $240, I don't know. Okay, let's get our ice cubes. Give one to the dog. He's addicted to ice cubes. Every time he hears that drawer come open, he has to come get one. I'm just going to put these into the ice water, but before I do that, I bash them on the counter to crack them open. And that's the secret in this case to getting the shells to come off easily. If you crack them like this and put them in the ice water, then the water will seep in there and the shells will come right off. Works every time. All right, I'm just going to pull these potatoes out. We'd like to get them cooling off. One thing with this silicone steamer is it sticks to the sides of the pot, wedges itself right in there. Hot. Let's get this out of the way. Check these, see if they're cooling down. The main reason to throw them in the ice water is not just to cool them down, but it's to stop the cooking. So they don't overcook and turn green. You're going to see here, these shells come right off. No sticking. And I'm just rinsing those off and putting them back into the ice water. Let them cool down a little more. Some of them are still a little warm. And I want to make sure we fully stop the cooking. Now we got our bowl for our potato salad. Okay, so now I'm going to take 3 of these eggs, and then I'll take the yolks out and mash them up and put them into the dressing. And you can look at those yolks to see there's no green on them. These are nicely cooked hard-boiled eggs. for the dressing here, we do want to mush them up even more if we can. Of course, when I cut up the rest of the eggs, the yolks are going to mush up anyway. This gets a little more head start, I guess, into the dressing. I just like to use this egg slicer. It's a little easier than chopping them by hand, but if you don't have one, just chop them. Alright, now I'm just going to put that in the refrigerator for a few minutes. I think it's always better to chill it. I'd like to I'd chill it more, but I didn't want to make it that far in advance. That is the best way to do, is just really chill it and then mix the dressing in. And of course, you'd like the whole thing chilled, but actually warm potato salad is good. Some potato salads are made that way, but this one's going to be just a little bit warm. We can just dry those up, put them away. Alright, it's time to get to the corned beef. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull it out of the slow cooker, and then I'm going to shred it and put it into that frying pan, a skillet, to heat it up with the cheese on top. And I do want to remove all the fat. That's what was left of the fat cap there. You can see all this fat just jellified there. But I still don't want it in my sandwich. Some people like that, but not me. I'm just going to cut across here and cut these long strands in half. One thing I should point out that I probably should have pointed out earlier, but when you get your corned beef, there's two different cuts of the meat. I said earlier, the corned beef is made from brisket. And if you buy a whole brisket, there's two parts to it. There's the flat and the point. And usually when they do corned beef, they cut the flat from the point. They cut it in half, basically. So you can either buy the flat or the point. Now the flat is generally leaner and a little tougher, and the point has more fat in it and it is more tender. So you can choose whichever you like. The point is generally smaller and has more fat, but usually the flat will have a bigger fat cap. But I like to get the flat, but that's up to you. And also the point is usually cheaper. Like when I bought this, which is the point was $1 a pound cheaper than the flat. So obviously the flat's more popular, I guess. So what I'm going to do with that on the stove is I'm just going to simmer it in some of the juice, and I'm going to cover that with the Swiss cheese and melt the cheese onto the top of it. And this is the way I like to do cheesesteak as well. I can cook up the cheesesteak, the meat and the peppers and all that in the skillet there, and then I'll cover it with provolone cheese, and that way I'm not trying to prepare each sandwich, so everybody can build their own sandwich. Just scoop out some of the meat and cheese, and sometimes I do make the sandwiches individually, but I often like to give people choices when I serve things like this, how they want to prepare it. I think it's more fun to be able to do your own, make your own decisions there when you're making your sandwich. Just like I'll have all the mustards out and the Russian dressing if they want, and the sauerkraut if you want. You could put mayonnaise on it even if you wanted. I don't know if they let you do that in one of those delis. They might throw you out if you put mayonnaise on it. In these more long-form POV videos, you get to see a lot more of me cleaning all the time. In case you were worried that I wasn't cleaning things up. I think it needs more juice. And of course, I'm not really cooking this here. I'm just heating it and to melt the cheese and keep it warm till I serve it. But I don't want it just sitting there in the juice. It's too juicy when you do it that way. I just had to make sure who wanted their bread toasted. And I just got some Jewish Rye. Since that's what delis usually serve, I think. I'll just toast that. Since I didn't have a lid that just fits that pan, I'll get out the universal lid here. All right, potato salad's chilled down a little bit. I can hear that bubbling from over there. I want to make sure it's doing okay. And actually, the cheese, it's just melting in there. I got the extra thin cheese for this. Sometimes the other stuff's really thick. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this on here. That's not enough cheese in there now. Just try a little bit there. Pretty tasty. The only thing left is the paprika on the top. This is hot smoked paprika, but it's mostly just for the color on the top. That's looking better. Cheesy. Let's get our mustard. Or hot spicy mustard, jalapeno mustard, coarse ground mustard. The Russian dressing is out in the shed, so we don't have it, you don't use it that much. about once a year when they make corned beef sandwiches. No, probably not that long. Where's it at? There we go. And we have refrigerators everywhere. Well, we have them in the garage, of course in the kitchen, and then out in the shed. Mostly in the shed, we just have our drinks out there, our sodas. That way it's right off the patio when we're having barbecues. Still kind of chilly out there right now. Okay, our toast is ready. Oh yeah. We got our little buffet going here. Got our corned beef with Swiss cheese on it, our mash or our potato salad, and here's our plates ready to go for everybody to make their own sandwich, however they like. Oh, and I almost forgot the sauerkraut, which I worked so hard to make. So now again, corned beef with potato salad, all of our mustards and our Russian dressing. And I'm just going to make my sandwich here. So a little hot spicy mustard. In fact, a lot of hot spicy mustard. Not quite as big as a $25 corned beef sandwich from Katz, I think, but There you have it. Corned beef and sauerkraut and deviled egg potato salad.
If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to be notified when new videos become available.